booster seat. I'm 9 years old.
Well, that's a really good question, Ruth Ann. In the state of Virginia, children Ruthie's age that are at least 8 years old or 80 pounds are allowed to ride without a booster seat. Now, Ruthie is 9 years old. She's 60 pounds, and she's about 4 feet 3 inches tall. Go ahead. All right, sit your booty all the way to the back and get buckled. And let's see how the seatbelt fits.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking that actually looks like it fits. But she's slouching, and her knees still don't bend over the edge. If she crosses her legs, cross your legs, like crisscross applesauce, and scoot your booty all the way back. See? Her knees do not bend at the edge, which means she's going to want to slouch back again like she was. The shoulder belt is not actually touching her shoulder. It needs to make contact. It's touching her chest, but it's not touching her shoulder yet. And the seat and the lap belt is on this soft stomach. It needs to be down on these hip bones, crossing the thighs. Let's try the middle seat. Go ahead and unbuckle. Scoot your bottom all the way back. Okay. Now again, because she's got a pretty long torso and short legs, her knees don't bend at the edge. And another problem, can you push your hair back, sweetie?
Sure.
I meant behind your ears. The tops of her ears are about level with the top of the seat. So even if the seatbelt fit her perfectly, she doesn't fit the seat. Her knees don't bend at the edge, and she won't have enough head support once the tops of her ears are above the top of that seat. So that's not safe either. Now get in your booster seat.
Okay.
Now, you see how the knees now bend naturally at the edge of her seat. She's not going to want to slouch. Ruthann, isn't that booster more comfortable?
Yeah, it is.
So even though you're 9, do you still need a booster to be comfortable?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to go like this.
Okay, now buckle your seatbelt. Now, most boosters have a rule that the shoulder belt should go under the armrest. This is the Costco top side, and it actually has a different rule where even though the lap belt goes under the armrest, and she's trying... Go ahead and put the lap belt under the armrest. She might have locked the belt. Oh, no, she just needs... Yeah, I think she locked the belt on herself. There we go. Maybe not. And even though she's 9 years old and can buckle herself, I always check her before we go anywhere. Like I said, most boosters, the shoulder belt would also go under the armrest. But this booster has a special rule where, I know you're loving this shot of the seat, where the shoulder belt goes over the armrest on the opposite side. Now, the lap belt is now completely on her thighs. The shoulder belt is not only touching her chest, but it's touching her shoulder. And she can stay like this, even when she's sleeping, the entire ride. And that's how she needs to be. And that's how she's expected to fit even without the booster seat, which usually doesn't happen until at least 4 feet 9 inches tall which is most kids, that's ages 10 to 12. In this car, which happens to be a 2007 Chevy Cobalt 2-door, the seats, as you can see, because it makes that look like it's a hump, but it's actually really flat, they sink in really deeply. So she won't be able to pass the 5-step test to ride without a booster until she's about 5 feet tall, maybe taller. And just to help her also always stay in position, I like to add the 6th step of having their feet flat on the floor before they get out of a booster seat. And Ruthan's much more comfortable when the seatbelt fits, right? Aren't you, Ruthan?
Yeah.
And more importantly, her ears feel a lot better when she's not being nagged by her mom to sit up straight and quit slouching and keep her booty all the way to the back. So a booster is the way to go. For a younger child who can't stay completely upright when they're asleep, you would want to look into a high back booster. And again, each car is going to fit boosters differently. For her, she has very narrow shoulders, and we had a lot of trouble finding a backless booster that would fit in this car. And the Costco topside is literally the only one that works. The only one I didn't try that would probably work as well would be the Bubble Bum. So that's something to make note of if you have narrow-shouldered children and have a car like this one. Jeffrey is going to be 12 years old here in 3 months. About
11.
No, he's about 5 feet, 3 inches tall.
I meant 11 years.
Maybe 5 foot 2.5. And as you can see, he's sitting without a booster seat. Well, let me show you why he can and she can't. He has his knees, and they're clearly able to bend well at the edge. And when he buckles, can you lift up your shirt, please? It's easier to tell on a child without a shirt. Sit all the way back. He is not a skinny child. But instead of being on his tummy, it's on his hip bones. Point to your hip bones, babe. Push. See? No squish. So even if it squishes in the middle, that's not necessarily meaning it's on the tummy. All right, go ahead and let your shirt down. The shoulder belt not only crosses his chest and touches his chest, but it also touches his clavicle and his shoulder bone. And he can stay like this for the... Don't lock the seatbelt. We've talked about that. For the entire trip. And some people do think that an easier way to get a child to sit still is locking the seatbelt. But new studies have shown that when you lock the seatbelt on a child that is in a booster seat or just a seatbelt, that can actually increase their chance of submarining, which means sliding out from under the lap belt in an accident. Jeffrey, of course, is getting goofy because I'm making this video. Otherwise, of course, he does not lock the belt on himself. But he's trying to show off. But we'll forgive him.
Yes.
He's also bending over. Do we bend over when the car is moving? He can easily sit with his seat all the way back, and his knees at the edge. And now he wants water, so I'm going to give him water.